There's talk of relocating the capital. The Iranian president has said that they might have to move Tehran.
It has been the driest autumn in decades. And out of 5 reservoirs that Tehran has, only 11% of them has been full this year.
Hello, it's Hannah here, and this is What in the World, your podcast for the stories that get people talking from the BBC World Service. Today we're going to be speaking about Iran, which is having one of its worst droughts in decades. Several of its main reservoirs have run dry, and there's talk of day zero looming in Tehran, in the capital, which is when it would officially run out of water. And this has brought back a long-debated plan about whether Iran could move its capital city somewhere else. So what's it like living with extreme water shortages, and could Iran actually move its capital? Here in the studio to break it down is BBC World Service reporter Gonce Hababiyazad. Hello, welcome back.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So what is it like in Iran right now in terms of water shortages? What kind of restrictions are in place for people?
From what I've spoken to people inside, they have been experiencing reduced water pressure during the night and as well during the morning as well. And they have been piling up, stocking up on water with the tankers at home. But this has not resolved the situation, and officials have been trying to tell people about what's going on and trying to ask them to conserve and be a bit more practical and be cautious of what they're doing and how they're consuming water. But at the same time, they don't want to fuel the public anger, because there have been protests over water in Iran, scattered protests as well.
What does it mean in terms of showering, cooking, drinking water? How are people affected?
So people who live in tall buildings have been affected because the pressure doesn't get up to the higher buildings, and they have been using pressure pumps to kind of shower during the mornings. But as I said, the officials have been trying to reduce the cuts to during the night so they won't feel the public anger.
And how are people coping with all of this?
They have been trying to stock up on water and trying to use the water less, but with the situation that's been going on, they're just waiting and hoping for the best and hoping for the officials to resolve the matter, while we haven't seen much improvements yet. And also we have seen during the past weeks and months, some pro-establishment people have been going to mosques praying for the rain. I've been speaking to a friend in Tehran and she sent me this voice note.
We currently only experience water outages at night for around 8 hours, though I know it differs from one area to another. We've stored water in whatever containers we have at home, but I know it's only the beginning. The scariest thing is the prospect of a summer without water, with more than 20 hours of restrictions and being blamed for the drought.
It does sound like a really distressing situation for people there. And Gonce, why has this got so bad? Is it lack of rain, or are there other factors contributing as well?
There's so many factors, but the main ones is firstly the climate change. But at the same time, the government policies, the agriculture, Iran is highly reliant on its agriculture and infrastructure as well. There are other factors. There's overconsumption as well. Especially in summer, I know so many people have pools at home in Tehran that they have been filling it up, and people have been asked not to do that during this period.
As you say, scientists say that climate change is a factor in this, and we've been hearing from our climate and science correspondent, Georgina Ranad.
I had a look at some recent reports by scientists, and one UK-based group, World Weather Attribution, say that climate change is playing a role in Iran's drought. Today's climate, which has warmed by about 1.3 degrees Celsius, means that a severe drought is about a 1 in every 10-year event. But before the planet warmed this much, it would only have happened maybe 2 or 3 times a century. And the scientists say that climate change is making the drought worse. But, and there is a but, the way the country uses water is also a big factor, separate to climate change. It's part of a wider water crisis, partly caused by things like over-extraction of water or unsustainable agriculture that doesn't respect the limited amount of rainfall the country gets. And there's big changes in how the land is being used too, things like overgrazing of animals or more intensive agriculture, leading to things like desertification or soil degradation. Both of those affect how the land can soak up water, meaning there's less for everyone to go around. So what can Iran do to solve this problem, apart from the wider issue of tackling climate change globally? Well, more sustainable farming could help. That's because agriculture accounts for about 90% of the country's water use. And importing more food from nearby countries could be part of the solution, particularly for foods that are water intensive to grow. If they get them from countries that naturally have more rainfall, then Iran doesn't need to use their water to grow those crops.
So, Gonche, Georgina mentioned some potential solutions to water shortages there. Are there other things that Iran is trying?
They have been trying cloud seeding, which is to artificially make it rain. But we have seen scattered shower in Tehran and other parts of Iran recently, but we are not sure if it's related to cloud seeding or not.
I mentioned earlier that there's talk of relocating the capital. The Iranian president has said that they might have to move Tehran. How would that work, and where would they move it to?
That's a really good question because it has been the driest autumn in decades. The rainfall has fallen 80% compared to what it had been compared to the average. And out of 5 reservoirs that Tehran has, only 11% of them has been full this year. And there has been talks of moving the capital. We don't know where to. They haven't said where to. But Tehran is a city surrounded with mountains. It used to have a great weather. I can remember my friends going skiing in the mountains some past years. But right now, the situation has drastically worsened. The schools have shut down in Tehran because of the pollution recently. And it doesn't seem that the situation of moving the capital will help because other cities have got issues, and Tehran is a city with a population of more than 10 million. So how would you move that population? Other cities and other places in Iran have been experiencing this problem, and they don't have the same structure as Tehran does because it's the capital, huge money has been invested in it, and other cities don't have that.
So do you think it's likely that they'll move Tehran?
It's not a practical plan.
And we know that Iran is facing lots of other challenges. You mentioned pollution, there's obviously the water problems, there's power shortages, there's wildfires. How much of all of this is to do with the political climate?
So Iran is a clerical establishment with one supreme leader who has the main word and the last word in all Iranian matters. His name is Ali Khamenei. And he has been asking people to consume less, and that has been his main solution for Iran. But we have Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian, who has been proposing the relocation of capital. Iran has been maintaining its anti-West policies, and Iranian president, he's a reformist ever since he came to power. He has been saying that he's a reformist, but we haven't seen much reform in the government yet. And Iran has been blaming lots of reasons for what's happening right now. They have been saying that it's because of climate change. It's even because of war with Israel that this has happened. They have said that Israel has attacked Iranian infrastructures. And they have said overconsumption of people is another reason. That's what Iranian Supreme Leader has also mentioned, and he has been asking people to reduce their consumption.
And how much of this has got to do with Iran's relationship with the West and sanctions, restrictions on trade that the West has placed on Iran?
Iran has been engaging with the West in its nuclear issue for years and years and years. And recently the talks have been stalled, and we haven't seen much progress in it. And Iran has been blaming sanctions, but we haven't seen much progress from the Iranian side in resolving those sanctions imposed by the West because of its nuclear and ballistic missile programs.
And what does the government and the Supreme Leader, what do they say about all of the problems that Iranian citizens are facing?
They have been putting the blame on the Western sanctions a lot. And this has been an issue that has been recurring for years and years and years. The pollution in Tehran, other issues in other cities, the drought, everything that we have mentioned. And they have been calling on people to pray for the rain, to pray for everything. And as I said before, the best thing that people have been doing right now is waiting and hoping for the best.
It sounds like a really difficult situation, and I really hope that it resolves soon. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Me too. Thanks so much for having me.
That's it from me, but we have plenty of other episodes right here on the BBC World Service YouTube channel. Please do like, share, subscribe, and drop us a comment below. We love to hear what you guys have got to say. I'm Hannah. This is What in the World from the BBC World Service, and we'll see you next time.